Hi, I'm Sergio Pablos, and I've been working in animation for over 25 years. And in that time, I've had to wear many hats. I've had to be a director, an animator, and a character designer occasionally. And I do enjoy character design especially. So today I'm here to tell you about 8 tips, things that I've learned over the years that maybe you could find useful, 8 tips about how to become a better character designer. Number 1, know your subject matter. So if you got an assignment or a great idea and you can't wait to dive right into it, right? You want to start drawing. Well, hold on just a second. Are you familiar with the subject matter? Have you researched what you're supposed to be designing? Personally, I feel that this is a very necessary step, and it really shows when an artist neglects it. Let me give you an example. When I was approached to design the main bird characters in Rio, my knowledge of birds was nowhere close to where it needed to be for me to take on this challenge. Don't get me wrong, I could draw a somewhat convincing bird. I had a working knowledge of their anatomy and their mechanics. But not all birds are the same, and I had a lot to learn. Give this a try, put in the time to learn about your subject, and you'll see what it does for the quality of your designs. Number 2, get through the bad drawings before you get to the good ones. No matter how you put it, character design is a process of elimination. Your first try isn't going to be the good one, or the second, or the third. It takes time to get yourself accustomed to the subject matter. Trying out different shapes and styles and different ways to achieve the right attitude in your characters. Don't rush, persevere. I promise you, if you do this, you'll look back at your first attempts and you won't even believe at one point you thought your first tries were good. Now you'll be embarrassed to even show them. Be patient and it will pay off, you'll see. Number 3, character. A character is a tool used to tell a story. As simple as that. If you're working on a film or a TV show as a designer, the director or the art director will come to you and describe the character that he needs you to design. The description has 2 parts. 1, the physical attributes of the character, gender, age, occupation, attire, and such. Then for the second part, the psychological attributes, backstory, character arc, motivation, personality traits, that sort of thing. Oftentimes I see young designers neglecting the second part in favor of the first one. They're more concerned about how cool it looks than about whether or not the character will fit the needs of the story. Back in the day, I designed and supervised the animation on Tantor the elephant on Disney's Tarzan. The directors did give me a description of the character so I could begin exploring the design. For the sake of simplicity, let's boil it down to this. Tantor is a neurotic elephant. Elephant is clearly a physical part, which makes neurotic the psychological trait. So I did a lot of designs of Tantor, some of which actually I was far more excited about than the one we ended up using. But I quickly found that the cooler designs were not displaying the personality in any discernible way. They were just cool elephant drawings, but not any elephant in particular, just appealing shapes on elephants, void of any character. And then I did this drawing that did something different. I tried to approach it from the character point of view. I noticed that whenever I acted out my idea of neurotic, I adopted this posture, where I sank my head into my shoulders and I looked around nervously. So I tried altering the design to be able to do that. It's actually quite a departure from an actual elephant anatomy because they're not able to do that. Their heads hang down like this. They cannot do this. But the moment the director showed that sketch, the reaction was immediate. That's him. That's Tantor. So take my word for it. If you approach it from the character point of view, you'll get better results every single time. Which brings us to number 4, getting the personality in there. One thing that has always surprised me about designing characters is how much power there is in putting the right attitude into your drawings. You may be tempted to place your characters in fairly standard poses. And that may be true for you as the artist, but when it comes down to showing your work, attitude trumps everything. I was shocked to find that oftentimes the directors would pick the weaker design and disregard the ones that I thought were brilliant. Why? Well, simply because those designs were placed in a pose that displayed the right attitude for the character's personality. Trust me, if you're leaning towards one of your designs and you're hoping that's the one that gets picked, give him or her the most expressive attitude, the one that conveys the personality in the most appealing way. Number 5, get feedback. So here's a test I like to do just to check if I'm going in the right direction. Say my assignment was this. We need you to design a mischievous yet somewhat cute monster. Can be scary for children, but it still needs to be recognizable as a monster. Go. So what I would do is this. After I've done some work, I'd find someone and I'll show him my work. By the way, this person does not need to be an artist. As a matter of fact, it's better if they're not, in my opinion. But, and this is very important, I would not give him any information. All that I would say is, what do you see here? And if the response I get falls along the lines of the assignment that I was given, then I'm on the right track. But if they don't get it, if they cannot describe the character to me back in the way that the assignment was given to me, then I need to try a different approach. Number 6, be adaptable. So there are some designers out there that have a very distinctive style, often so appealing and unique, that that's the main reason that they're so sought after. You know the kind of artist I'm referring to. I'm afraid I don't fit into that category. I'm more of a trial and error kind of guy. Don't get me wrong, we'll have our own style, but personally I try to stay open to as many influences as possible so my designs don't become repetitive and stale. Plus, I've learned that I need to adapt the way I work to the kind of assignment and director I'm working with. Sometimes you'll be working with a director that has an artistic background, and he's probably going to be the kind of guy who you can show rough sketches to and he'll get it. Other times, the person you're working for lacks the ability to extrapolate a sketch into anything other than a sketch. In those cases, I found that I need to do a bit of extra work, maybe render the characters in a more volumetric way or try different styles, maybe more realistic, maybe more cartoony. A bit of texture here, some volume there. In other words, it falls to you as the artist to bridge that gap and adapt to your director's needs, not the other way around. Number 7, stay inspired. Keep in mind that when I was trying to break into animation, it was a very different world. There was no internet, so if you wanted to find inspiration, you had a much harder time doing so. Usually it involved digging through piles of books in some dusty comic book store, hoping to run into a rare Illusion of Life or a Preston Blair animation book. And when you did find one of those, it was something to be treasured for life. But look at what you have at your disposal today. Pinterest, YouTube, endless list of websites and blogs dedicated to the most specialized nooks and crannies of anything you can come up with. And it's all for free. For someone like me, it's absolutely insane. So my advice to you is to take full advantage of this wonderful time we live in. Stay inspired and it will show in your work. Number 8, challenge yourself. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. You don't learn anything new if you always stay in your comfort zone. It's only when we challenge ourselves, when we take a dive into the unknown, that we really advance. Not only will you learn something new, but you'll get the satisfaction of facing your fears and limitations and overcoming them. And by the way, if you persevere, if you don't turn away from the challenge, you will most definitely overcome them. Practice makes perfect. It really does. Well, there you go. I hope this was helpful. And if it was, and if you'd like to see more of these videos, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, that sort of thing. Thank you. So here are 8 tips. Is it 8? 8 tips. Don't rush, persevere. Stick with it and you'll see how it gradually... So I would often found myself... So there are some designers out there that have a very distinctive style.